Hi, I'm Barbara, and I am a universal human being. My allegiance is to life itself. Today is 4/24/26, and we're going to be talking about those of us who are natural dismantlers of the matrix and of the toxic system that we've been living in. And bringing you back to me. Where is the button? Can't see the button. Oops, there it is. Hi, I'm Barbara. And trying to come up with a shorter format. And forgive me, I'm in horse room. I've lost my voice when I'm in here too long. So, well, let me do the mirror part. Yes, guys, so I am a universal human. My allegiance is to life itself. It transcends my gender. It transcends everybody's gender, religion, culture, etc., etc. It's like at some point you just say, we're all the same. We all came from the same spirit. And to fight that anymore is so ridiculous. And to not appreciate and enjoy each other for just being human, we're missing out on so much fun and so many gifts that others have for us. I'm really hoarse. So, hold it. My talk tonight, which I'm really going to try to keep short, is the chart that you saw when I opened up was being a dismantler. There are many of us right now who are being called forward, have been trained by some really horrific circumstances and situations to become the dismantlers of this present system that is absolutely not working and is just getting worse. And it's going to take people who've been training for years, who've been trained by God for years, to really notice, observe, and to be able to pluck out which systems are working for life, for people, and which systems aren't. And as many of you know, it doesn't have to be blatant. It can be very insidious, almost unseen to the untrained eye. But many of us, and I'll just speak about myself, have been trained through horrific circumstances to be able to recognize systems that are toxic, that are not promoting goodwill for people, that are actually setting their businesses, their corporations, their whatevers in such a manner as to enslave people, to inspire following instead of leaders and leadership in order to maintain that top bracket of administrators. And everybody is supposed to just kind of fall in line. For those of us who have been rebels all our life, if you really look at your childhood to see where it started, where did you know and when did you know that you were different? Where and when did you know that you were not in agreement with the system you were in, whether it was school when you were little, or high school, or in a marriage, in a community, at a job? When did you really realize that you were not in step with the rest of the group? And I think we've gone through all the rainbow of how we responded, from knowing inside our truth, but choosing possibly to hide, to play small, to play stupid, to just put on all those masks in order to, one, survive the group, two, to belong to the group, and three, possibly hoping that you would move up the ladder in the particular group. But eventually, God comes in and says, whether we hear it or not, most of the times we don't hear it, is, I have something very different for you to do. I've been training you since you were very little, and you are absolutely correct. You are not in line with those people. I made you not to be in line with those people because I've been training you to create a new structure. And how better for those of us who've consented and agreed to this, to rebuild, not even rebuild, to build a new structure from the ground up. We would have to know what is not working. And so I know I'm speaking to a lot of people who know, whether you're still hiding who you are, that know that the system we're in, locally, in our own homes, in our own spaces, to the city, to the towns, to the state, to the country, to the planet, how many of us know that we don't go along with the program, and we never will? And so the reason I wrote on my chart that we are dismantlers just by our presence, even though we think we're hiding and we think we're playing small, and we think that we're putting up a good mask to belong, in reality, there's certain people, and they're usually in the power positions, that can see us. They see us very clearly. They see our power. They see our intelligence. They see that we're creative, and they target us to bring us into the fold of the community, which means we are not going to let you be big. We're not going to promote you into any kind of higher positions to lead our people. We are not going to even acknowledge who you are and what you stand for. And this is out of insecurity. This is out of jealousy, envy. This is perceiving us as a threat. Now, a healthy community would be looking for creative people, people who have solutions, people who are intelligent, people who are loyal, people who are committed. That's what a healthy institution would be. That is what a healthy partner would be looking for in his co-partner, is someone that is capable of leading themselves, that they don't have to drag them around by their hair, doing everything for them and saving them and taking care of them. But this world is upside down. This world just wants followers. And both parties are wrong. The leaders who are intimidating people, throwing people under the bus, maligning them, smearing them, is an attempt to bring them into alignment and into the fold and into obeying that 1, 2, or 3 administrators. So that's one side of it. But the other side of it that's really, really sad and worse is that the people, I'll use a community as an example, the people are capitulating. They are going along with the program of being a slave, of being a cog in the wheel, of being a battery, like in the Matrix movie, with miles and miles of batteries that were feeding into the universe. So the really sad thing is people either don't know they're being used and that their energy is being siphoned and that they are slaves, or they know and they are just afraid to step away and go do something else or to call it out. So we have two toxic situations. We have the administrators in communities that are demanding a following, they're demanding agreement, they're demanding slavery. And the other part that's toxic is the actual people are buckling under those administrators and becoming followers, listening and following and doing whatever they say. And even if it goes against their inner knowing, even if it goes against their heart, even if it goes against everything they've learned since they were little, they will still capitulate to these administrators. Why? One, they want to belong. Two, they don't want conflict. Three, very often in my situation, which I keep discussing with you, is we really don't want to leave. We really want to have access to the particular teachings or materials that are being presented, or even access to the particular teacher. In my case, it would be a spiritual teacher. So I was thinking today that the reason my church administrators get along with their shit is because they have a captive audience. They know that all of us are there very specifically to work with one teacher. We want the spiritual elevations that we are promised in spirit to move up higher. And we can discuss that another time. And as far as looking at this person, this teacher or spiritual guru that is going to take us higher and higher and higher and off the planet. So the administrators think they're such hot shit, but in reality, the only reason people put up with them is because they just want to be with the teacher and the teachings. So whereas the administration thinks they're so powerful and they're so impressive, they just have an audience that wants nothing to do with them. They just want the teachings. However, they know, we know, and I know from my experience, and a lot of you who are listening to me know exactly who I'm talking about. It's they use that vulnerability, the vulnerability of us that want to learn and grow spiritually so much that we will put up with their BS and their nastiness and their disrespect. And it gets worse and worse. In my situation, it really got worse. So I really understand why I too had an opportunity to call this community out 15 years ago. I could have sued their butts off. I had ample evidence. I knew how to do the legal process on my own. I was well educated by that point. Why didn't I? One, because I wanted to work with the teacher. I really wanted to elevate myself spiritually and actually, honestly, made the teacher higher than God, which is totally not where I'm at now. And so, and to belong, to belong. But in my case, it seemed that just my presence irritated the presidency. Just my presence, unbeknownst to me, it took years. And I'm just starting to unravel it now. And I'm just starting now to unwrap how long it was going on. And the memories of when I was just poked and then poked again and then poked again to stress me out. I don't know, to get me to leave. It was as if I was competition for these presidents, which I know now for sure I was. Why? Because they saw that I wasn't going with their program, that I was truly absorbing the teachings they were presenting. I wasn't just reading about it. I was becoming it. I am living it. And they saw that, and they watched that, and they studied me. I would catch them studying me. You know, in the middle of a room, I'd turn around and there's one of them just staring at me, like just studying, like what is this woman about? So again, I'm talking about people who are natural, what they call natural karmics. Some of us are walking justice bombs. That's the only way to say it. Some of us just have to be in the presence of a person or a place or a room full of people, and our presence unravels them. The masks, they start to shake. I've had people in front of me quiver in their lips, and all I was doing was looking at them with loving, with care, and in being myself and standing in my essence, made them quiver. And then it made me uncomfortable because, well, I don't want to cause anyone to quiver. So what did I do? Like I always did, is I take on the pain, but I could not figure out what I was doing to make them quiver. Of course, now I know is I carry the mantle of truth inside me. It's just who I am. So if I'm standing in front of someone in my truth and they are loaded to the hilt with masks and masks upon masks, being phonies and fakes, and I walk up with this inner light that I don't even know is beaming, you know, I just don't know it, they shake, they quiver. You'll see, I don't know if I've seen this many times on people in front of me where their lips start to quiver. If they were relaxed and authentic and loving and caring and at the same vibration as me, there wouldn't be any quivering. It would just be a meeting of the hearts and the meeting of the minds. So yeah, a lot of us today are chosen, have been chosen from birth, before birth, to be the I'm tongue-tied tonight, to be the dismantlers of the matrix and of the system. And a lot of us are single. Many of us have been going it alone so that we don't have any interference in our training, whether we're studying or reading or following teachers around. I know for me is once I realized my purpose, I knew right away I could not be in a relationship. I would be too much pressure to worry, and I would worry about the other person, that I'm not spending time with them, that I'm not really nurturing the relationship the way I'd like to, because I'm really focused on God. I'm focused on my purpose. I'm focused on the mission that He's setting out for me. And more than anything, I needed to heal so much and clear myself out so that I could be the truth, that I could be in my purpose. And that took, just in this lifetime alone, like 45 years of continually studying. And so not having a relationship, not having children. Oh my God, I could never have done the work I did if I had children. I would have had to take care of them and made them priority. And I could never have put the time in to my studies had I had kids. So a mate was out. For me, kids were out. And as I got more and more into the path, I slowly had to stop friendships. I held on to a few, but I got rid of the fluff. I wasn't in the clubs as much singing or dancing. I just didn't shop for clothes anymore. Unless I absolutely needed something. It's like my priorities just went 180. And it was my choice. I didn't know that ultimately I would be dismantling systems. in my life, not to go out there and look for people and look for systems, but God brought systems into my life that were extremely toxic, dysfunctional, cruel, and mean and abusive. I mean, this would be my church. This would be the assisted living homes, the nursing homes, the shelters. If you have never heard me, I went through a homeless thing after an incident with my church. So I got to see all these toxic platforms, and I got to see my peeps, my peers, my sisters and my brothers in slavery everywhere. And it just was heartbreaking, because I, in myself, was holding this place of wholeness for all of us, holding a place that we're all souls that came to this planet not to be slaves. We didn't come here to be slaves. We came here to learn. We came here to educate ourselves about spirit. We came here to elevate our minds, our emotions, our bodies, our spirits. We didn't come here to be prisoners. And all I've seen for the last 15 years is prisoner after prisoner after prisoner. And administrations loving keeping prisoners and slaves and followers. What do they get out of that? It's their egos. They get to tell themselves how wonderful and how big they are because all these people are following them. And at my church, I hate to let the presidents know, but we're not there following you 3 guys, 4, including the teacher. We are not there to follow you. We are there strictly for the teacher that has passed and for the teachings. So get over yourself. We're not there for you. In fact, we put up with you, barely. And I'm speaking to my peeps right now. I am not the only person. I'm speaking to the administration. I'm not the only person who sees you clearly. I mean, there's people before me, before I came in, that warned me about you, and I was so innocent that I didn't pay any attention to it. I was a neophyte. I was coming in a new student. But now I understand what was happening in 1988. There was the red flag for me, and now I can fully say with confidence that what happened in 1988 very well happened. And it was covered up, polished, and thrown under the rug so no one would pull it out again. And I am pulling it out again. I am going to be telling my story, which is very similar to the story in 1988, different content. And I guess the one from 1988 that was thrown under the bus must be in my periphery and in my energetic, because he didn't get his justice, and I'm here to get him justice and me justice. And so, again, if you're not following my podcast, you may not know what I'm talking about, but basically I was thrown under a bus by a spiritual community, despite my love, my loyalty, my consistency, my cooperating, regardless of what my self-talk was. They have nothing bad on me. And everybody saw me there. Seminar after seminar after seminar, writing check after check after check, paying for seminars every year for 37 years. And so just getting back to what they don't know in throwing me under the bus is God just picked me up, put me in his arms, and took me on a journey, 2 things, to see what was going on with my peeps in the shelters, in the nursing facilities, in the missions. He just took me all over and showed me a whole nother level that I never would have seen of slavery and people being batteries and having their energy sucked, having the life sucked out of them to maintain the administrators that were not only making the big bucks. I would go as far as to say that they're all corrupt when it comes to money. They manage to keep the funds that are really for the people. This is across the board. And hide it. And no one really investigates it. For me to have someone investigate certain things, I would have to have an attorney at $1,000 an hour. That's what I would need. So I do my own investigations. I do my own spy work. I do my own legal work and learn the laws of the land. So my title, what I'm talking about tonight was dismantlers. If you feel broken in your heart about what's going on and you decide, it's a decision, if you choose to change the system and you are willing to put your body on the line, not sit home, read newspapers, watch the news, but that you are going to take action in the world to put these people on notice that it's over, it's done, enough. And in that, we will be given our jobs and our assignments from God. So, being a dismantler, which is my new word, I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it 15 years ago. By them throwing me under the bus, they in fact created a monster, because in the process of being homeless and getting some places to live that was so toxic, in that whole process, what I thought was breaking me, and it definitely did break me. You only see me sitting, but my health is out of control. I just made a list for an agency of all the medical issues I have. I shouldn't be alive. I really should not be alive, and I should not be able to walk the little bit that I can. So if you know in your heart you are or want to be part of the army that is going to be dismantling system after system after system, and it's not about, you have to go to Washington and you're going to take them on. No, there are systems in your own life, intimately, from family, from spouses to children, to jobs, to communities, etc., that you have the opportunity to step in and instigate, influence, change. And if you are really in a toxic situation, the way you will know is that will not be welcomed. They do not want you or I to bring the ideas to up-level and uplift their communities. They want to be the ones to do it, but they are not trained to do it. They haven't earned the opportunity from God to do it because they're just into their ego and into their power. And God will temporarily give people power, temporarily endow them with the ability to make changes. But he also knows what is the heart of the person who is making these changes. Are they doing it for the highest good of the group? Or are they doing it for their own self-aggrandizement? How do you say I can't say it, but I can see it. Aggrandizement. And their own egos, and to have power over us. So I'd like to say in my case, and I look at my family, I look at my relatives, and all the things they tried to pull on me. I mean, I look back now and I go, holy SHT, they could see me. And they're 3,000 miles away, and they still needed to try to pull me down through inheritances that I was denied, that mysteriously disappeared. Men, all men, and me out here. I just can go back and back and back to relationships where I just was not honored. Definitely my creativity, my intelligence was not honored, but they were very willing to utilize my power, my strength. They were very willing to use my creative ideas that I willingly gave to them to help uplift them in their endeavors. But these people, the way you really can identify narcissists and toxic people and selfish people is they never, ever say thank you. Thank you for putting me through law school. Now it's your turn. Here's the check. They will never say to you, wow, you've been here for 37 years in this church, and we have been tracking all the contributions you have made to all our little ministries that you think we didn't notice. When is the last time someone said thank you to you for your service, for your gifts? Really, when is the last time anyone said thank you so much? I learned so much from you, or thank you so much for doing service. Thank you so much for just being who you are and being with us and spreading your light and spreading your love. When is the last time someone has said thank you to you? I'm coming up with a no across the board. Never. I would have to think, it can't be never. I hope it's not never. I'll have to really go back and think about it. So yes, if you're grooming yourself and God has groomed you to be a dismantler, and you are losing everything and everyone and all your possessions, and you're tearing your hair out because you are judging yourself that you are failing. I've been judging myself that I must have done something horrible. I was successful, and now all of a sudden I can't even find a job. I can't find a decent place to live. I'm aging by the minute, not eating right, not exercising. Like everything that I did, I just couldn't do anymore. So I'll go back to my chart. I do have, when you see me look up, I'm looking at my chart. You can't dismantle a system if you are still too sensitive, if you still take things personally, if you still wilt in the presence of a verbal attack. A physical attack is another thing. You need to run. But emotional and mental attacks, it's time to turn around and leave. And then there's the whole issue of psychic attacks, which are invisible attacks. Someone could be sitting across from you silent and sending you really horrible thoughts or saying really horrible things about you to your face silently. And you feel it. You wonder why all of a sudden you just want to stop eating. Why do I want to leave and go to the bathroom all of a sudden? Why do I have a headache? Why am I tensing up? It's because you pick up on these things. We're all like antenna. We're all antennas. We pick up these things. To the degree that you do your inner work is the more you pick up and the more sensitive you are. And so staying with the dismantlers, if you are someone who really wants to bring in the new system, there's a lot of talk about the world's going to change. It's going from 3D to 5D. Jesus Christ is coming back. And we're all being, more than ascending. People are thinking that this is going to happen in one clean swoop. That is not, I don't think my God works like that. He knows that everybody needs to learn on their own how to ascend, how to uplift themselves, how to become a Christ. It's an inside job. It's an individual job. And I don't think anyone is coming in to save us, guys. So those of you who are waiting for Jesus, I would say forget it. That is magical thinking. He already came. He did his purpose. If he returns, it's going to be through each one of us popping into our full spiritual divine nature as the Christs. So I'm not going to hold up my development and my ascension process for the person down the hall who's just sitting on a lazy boy drinking beer and is never going to ascend, is never going to do the work that I've done and that you guys have done. No, I don't think God is giving free passes to people who are sitting around waiting for someone to come along and save them. I mean, that would be a really stupid God. Don't you think? The God that created the entire cosmos and universes and planets and stars and the beaches and the waters and the planets and us. Do you think he's going to just wave a magic wand and say, be enlightened? He may come in and give a miracle. He may heal them of cancer in a swift second for the purpose of that person having faith in him and starting to get on the spiritual journey. You know, every miracle that we get is just a sign that, oh my God, God is real. This miracle that just happened to me, I know was a gift from God. There's no way I could have achieved this gift on my own. And in that, if I was smart, I'd say, oh my God, I want to know this God that just healed me of cancer or just helped me stop eating everything in sight or taking drugs or acting out sexually. If that stops like overnight, you've had a miracle. God has intervened. But he expects you to pick up the mantle that he gave to you in your healing, and he expects you to get up and start walking and cleaning yourself up and healing yourself. And another miracle will come forward. He like drops crumbs, just like little crumbs. And so I'm kind of on a slow motion rant tonight. I'm not talking fast because of my throat. But so just going back to the dismantler, if you want to or are already, you have to be, I'm reading my chart, you have to be willing to go it alone. You need silence. You cannot do this kind of spiritual work. You cannot engage in a spiritual battle as a warrior unless you are alone and spend a lot of time in silence. You need to hear God's voice. And you can't just turn it on and off like that. I mean, you can in emergencies, but basically, those of us who spend hours in silence by ourselves are the ones who are bringing in the information, you know, and it's a price to pay for it. There's a sacrifice that we're making. No, instead of going out to a club right now and dancing, I have been thinking and preparing all day, what should I say tonight? In addition to doing my hair and getting dressed, which, you know, I'm usually in a ponytail and the same old clothes. So you have to be willing to go it alone. You can't be doing this with 10 kids and a husband and a home to keep. You need to be ready like a soldier to move on a dime. God says, get on a plane. This is where I want you. You need to get on that plane and get over there. You have to be willing, and this is the one that's really hurtful, This is the one that comes with a lot of heartbreaks. This is the one that no one ever told me about. No one told me about the stuff that I'm telling you. I'm telling you what I've learned, a hit and miss in the last 15 years, is you have to be willing to be hated. You have to be willing to be rejected. You have to be willing to be smeared and humiliated and abandoned, and what's the other one? And cast out of the group. They don't want you around. You are a threat. They may not even know what the threat is, but they can pick up. There's something different about this person. In my case, as devoted and as a student I am, when I wrote my papers, there were times when they asked me to delete certain things from my papers. And I refused. I said, I'm paying for this class. I learned from writing my papers, and I want to put this in my paper for myself and to read later on. And so it was just one of the things that happened to me. I was told to change things in my papers. And the irony is, the very things that I changed in my papers that they didn't want me to change were the foundations of new programs that they developed. Let me say that again. The very things that they told me to take out of my papers, that it wasn't relevant, I said, no, I'm putting it in my papers. This is my class. I'm paying for it. I'm writing the papers. I want to read this 10 years from now. So I said no. And again, they took those little gems that I was aware of and they weren't yet. They took them, stole them like into intellectual property, pulled them out, and created an entirely new class from my contribution that they were fighting me to leave out. That's theft of intellectual property, legally, but it also is telling of them that their consciousness, even though we're going to study with them, their consciousness is not higher than ours. If it was, why didn't they come up with the idea themselves? Why didn't they come up with the idea themselves? Is because they're not listening to spirit. These teachers that we put on a pedestal, we pay thousands of dollars for their classes. What I'm really getting now, God is really, showing me the whole picture now. It's like they are not in relationship with spirit. They are faking it. If they were in relationship with spirit, and this goes for every community, when a community is sincerely engaged with Jesus Christ, God, Archangel Michael, when they claim that and yet disrespect their students and do heinous things on their students, it's as clear as day. They are not connected to spirit. They have no relationship with spirit. If they did, they would never do the things they do. And so getting back to being hated, rejected, abandoned, I'm cast out, and I'm looking at my notes here. If a group comes against you, I had to come to this myself. Like, why do they keep poking at me? Why do they try to throw me out of this class? And why do they tell me I can't be included in this? And I have so many so many things that have happened. Why? Why am I different? Why do they pick on me and nobody else? And it feels egotistical to say this to you guys, but they picked on me because they knew who I am. And they knew years ago, before I even knew. They knew that I had a power that is not my power, that God's power was growing in me. strictly because of my own efforts at meditation, studying, pondering, contemplating everything that was presented to me. So I ended up shining, not because of my ego or anything I was trying to do. It was just happening by right of my engaging with the invisible. So it's very telling when a spiritual community cannot handle and embrace their most gifted students. They are a threat. They are going to potentially take over their jobs or their positions. I was never interested in any job in this church. I have my own dreams. I have my own life going outside of the church. But that is the fear. That and it's also embarrassing to them. Like, I'm the president. I should know better than Barbara. And since I don't, and I don't want anybody to know that, I'm going to destroy her, shut her up, make her small, and make her look stupid, make her act stupid. I mean, these people are sick. What they have stooped to try and disappear me and unalive me and, minimize me in every way and hire people to gossip about me and smile. Yeah, smile at my face and pretend they're my friend, only so they could go back and feed back to them what I was up to or what I was doing. And I've shut it down. I have totally shut it down. I don't call anyone. If they call me, I probably will not take the call. They have no idea where I'm at, and I want it that way. So I'm just saying, I should add that too. If you want to be a dismantler, plan on hiding. Plan on hiding, because they will send people out to surveil you, if not more. So the other thing I wrote is, beside being rejected and smeared, is expect them, particularly the main person who is threatened by you, expect them to copy you. They will start to adopt your qualities to become you. And they will start even using your material. I guarantee that these podcasts are going to be copied by one particular person. And pretend they're you, because they see your personality, they see how you are with people, they see how you study. I mean, actually, your Judases, our Judases, my Judases, are my greatest admirers. They admire me so much, but they're not willing to let me just be me and just let me live and let me have my life. And instead, I feel like a noose around my neck. Which is probably why I've been choking. They just want to put a noose around my neck and shut me down so that I don't speak anymore, because I have things to say that are much grander than their consciousness. I'm way ahead of these people. I've always been ahead of these people in this community, and they know it. And I don't do it on purpose. I am honoring my pace of graduation, my pace of learning. And who has the right to slow me down and to stop my progress? Especially if I'm being led to be a dismantler of the system. There are millions of people who might need and want what I have to say. So by destroying me, they deny millions of people a message that I might have for them that they need. So I was going to post this tonight, but I'll just say it here, is the legacy that these people have worked so hard to maintain is going down, because you cannot build a very ancient legacy, and being careful here, I'm waiting for God to tell me the exact words. You cannot maintain a legacy that goes back to Abraham and has come up and up and up through many, many, many other people, you know, all the way that have honored this process, that have helped many human beings transcend their humanity. And when it got to this particular group, in this particular time and age, they have corrupted the lineage by their ego, because of their money greed, because of their attachment to celebrityism, Hollywood, and their attachment to their riches, their attachment to their power. They have totally chosen their pride and their need for accolades over the principles of the legacy that this line has been building. And so I hate to let them know this, but they have disrupted, they have corrupted the legacy. I am claiming this on television. I'm not going to do it. I've been told that it is over for them. It's over. It may not look it on the outside because there's always people willing to come in and want to belong, but they have more than disrupted, they have corrupted a lineage of thousands and thousands of years because of their own greed, their own need for power. You cannot claim an age-old lineage and then destroy the very human beings that come forward to be a part of that lineage, to be a part of perpetuating the lineage, and possibly taking that lineage to the next step. So by unaliving me and throwing me under the bus, and I'm finding out more and more people, I had no idea. At some point, God says, I'm shutting this down. I'm shutting this lineage down. And if you go by the Bible does say when a lineage is shut down generationally, it could be 7 generations. 7 generations of people not being able to articulate, denying students. 7 generations of students will not be able to do the work that I've done because 3-4 men with some flying monkeys demonstrated to God that they had no problem throwing an anointed, chosen child under the carpet and ruining my life. And I can't even imagine really that I could be the one who's going to be delivering this meal to them. But I am, and it's very clear, and I know they know it by now too. I am not shutting up. I'm going to tell the story in every way, shape, and form. My reasoning for telling the story is because a lot of you are trapped in similar situations where you are trapped, stuck, afraid to leave, don't want to leave your situations. It's always a problem when there's children involved because you do have to take care of your children. But there's a scripture in the Bible that says, in a twinkling of an eye, people will suddenly just disappear. And I used to read that. I didn't say it right, but I was used to think, well, how is that possible? How is that possible? Would God just like make me disappear and leave my family here and make my neighbor disappear? essentially elevate us and have us ascend. And now I see it so clearly, is those of us who've been working hard and have been prepared are going to be elevated so high, it will be as if we've disappeared from the communities. Excuse me. So, I didn't read it yet. I already talked about it. The last thing I wrote is, if you're going to be a dismantler, you have to be willing. Let me say it first another way. You cannot be sweet anymore. You cannot have over empathy anymore. You cannot be over caring anymore. You cannot excuse them anymore. You cannot be a dismantler if you're still stuck in people-pleasing, caretaking, forgiving over and over and over again, and then they do the same thing over and over again. No, you cannot be a dismantler until you have very clear boundaries, until you know how to say no more, until you know how to say enough is enough, and until you have the strength to pick up and leave every single toxic situation. And like I said, you need to go it alone. You need to be willing to be hated, because they will hate you. A group of people, when they see you rise and depart, they will be so angry. Why? Number one, you've abandoned them. How dare you abandon them? Number two, they'll judge that you think you're better than them, when in fact you did the work and you've earned it. You've earned the raise, and they haven't done the work. And they will also hate you for a third reason, is you just showed them what they are capable of that they are not doing. So they have to hate you. You have to be a horrible person in their eyes, or how else could they live with themselves? Now, if it was an intelligent person, a teachable person, a person filled with the Spirit of God, they would be running after you. Wait for me, take me with you. Take me with you and let me learn. Teach me what you've learned. Teach me how to do what you did. Now that is a seeker. That is a student. Now, if they're faking it and just pretending because they want to ride on your glory or your skirts or your money, you'll know that right away. And you'll just say, you know what, honey, go back to the chicken coop, take your seminars, do whatever you need to do, but you're not ready for this level. You have not studied. You haven't earned it. So the last thing I wrote is to be able to irreverently, meaning not with reverence, the opposite of reverence, to be irreverently able to call out your power people, the power abusers. No more respect, no more reverence for these people that play this role, walk back and forth on the stage as if they're some great pastor or preacher or some great leader, and when in fact they're full of it. In fact, behind the scenes, they're attached to their multi-million-dollar house. They're attached to rubbing elbows with celebrities. They're attached to those celebrities giving them a check for their church. They're attached to fame and being known. And you become a threat to them as well. It's like, oh my God, is she going to be the next pastor of this church? Is she going to be the next Jesus? Is she the next Mary, Mother Mary? Is she the next Mary Magdalene? I mean, is she the next Archangel Michael? Is she the next new Archangel? I mean, who is this person that is soaring into the sky with wings, that was very quiet, demure, stayed in her lane, and paid her bills, and paid the tuitions, it's like incomprehensible to them. So I wrote, to be able to irreverently call out power people. It's almost like saying, you're not better than me. And what you're doing here is inappropriate. I'm calling you out. And their expression on their face will be, how dare you? How dare you? I'm the teacher. You're the student. And how dare you call me out? I mean, folks, this is what's waiting for us. When that happens, you know that their ego is out to here. So let them come at you like that. Note it in your book, for your movie, when you demonstrate toxic communities. The spiritual populations, churches, temples, mosques, are going probably take the brunt of this, very possibly before Washington, D.C. I've just been getting that very possibly the spiritual religious communities are going to have to be stripped of their facades before Washington. Because we need people to step into those communities, pick up the ball and run with it, and strengthen the community so that they can engage with the politics. So I'm saying a lot here, and I'm on a rant tonight, but the time has come. It's already happening. The systems are coming down. The old systems are coming down. If you are starting a business, if you're starting a relationship, if you are starting anything, and you are serious about changing the world, you cannot put the roots of your business in the old structures. You cannot put new relationships, marriages, etc., in the old structures. We are going to have to come up with a different, there's a word for it, a different something structure that we can plant our roots in. Because once we plant our roots in the old structure, we just become a part of them. It's like, putting a tree in a field where the dirt is just rotting away. Why would we put our businesses and roots in there? Why would we put our personal roots in there? Why would we start a relationship in there? No, those of us who are awake, those of us who are enlightened, I'm so sorry about my voice, it hurts so much. We will have to create new soil, a new ground in which to put our roots in, our businesses in, our relationships in. New communities are going to sprout up everywhere in the new soil. So I am projecting out into the future. We cannot put any more of our roots, ascended people, chosen, anointed, earth angels, starseeds. There is no plan for us to plant ourselves in the old regimes, because all that will happen is we will be poisoned and tainted by us. So if you are planning a new life, a new relationship, a new business, if you have dreams of creating a new community, keep in mind you cannot put your roots in the old structures. You're going to have to create your own new structure or join another group of people that have already created possibly a new structure that we don't know about. You might be the person who creates the foundation and the soil for new inventions, new everything. Wouldn't that be delightful? someone who really puts their life on the line to create a whole new, I want to say website, a whole new web, a whole new soil that's fertile and has all the nutrients it needs for those of us to plant our dreams and purposes and our lives in. I don't know if this is making any sense to you guys, but I just say you cannot, if you are serious about change, if you're serious about uplifting yourself, if you are serious about soaring, S-O-A-R, soaring up in the sky in a new way, you have to leave the old behind. You have to leave your Judases behind. Those have betrayed you. Those have thrown you under the bus. Those that have disrespected you. I had a great thing to read you on disrespect. Oh my God, where is it? Okay, here it is. It's what? April 24th, 2026. There's no time left. We're late. We are late in creating this soil. We're off. I know I'm off. I'm 15 years behind. These people prevented me from doing my ministry, which could have affected millions of people. And what I was being told in prayer today is that, God stays silent. He watches. He intervenes at some point. But what I've been shown is he has had it with this group. They've been doing this to many people. Most of them leave and quit and don't return. I hung in because I wanted the teaching so bad, but they ended up getting me. The only difference between me and the other people is, well, some did bring it to light publicly, then left, and it was never quite finished. So I'm going to finish it. But what I was shown was that God is placing judgment on them. He's going to be judging them. And the karma of the pain that they cost me and what I have to do to heal and all the emotional turmoil and all these, what they call destiny swapping, sending me mental daggers to try to keep me down. Thank God I was protected. It's over for them. It looks like they're making a little jump, but the way it was told to me, Spirit is just, yes, for a while I'll let them succeed and think they won and move on. But at some point, he's going to dry it all up like a well that has nothing left to offer. And that kind of stuff, I leave to God. We don't want to be involved in that kind of revenge because we don't want to get these points in our bank book of debits. We want to keep making credits. But that does not exclude exposing them so that the others realize that they had the wool thrown over their eyes, that they're just followers and they're just batteries. And quite honestly, some people are content to just be batteries and followers. Those are not the people God uses to do great works. Those are the people who just could, sit home and knit, make an Afghan after Afghan after Afghan. What does that do to uplift society? What does that do to raise the consciousness of our species? Nothing. So now I'm starting to go on and on. I can hear it. But if you're a dismantler, you need to be willing to go it alone. You need to be willing to be hated, rejected, smeared, thrown under the bus. You have to just be willing and make that okay. And God will strengthen you to the point where you just don't care anymore. You'll just laugh in their face and go, well, did you expect me to get hurt here? I got hurt 20 years ago with these things, but no more. And then I said, expect copycats. Narcissists are great copycats. They will, like a Terminator, they will, scan you for every possible innuendo of your personality and then reconstruct it as theirs. Some people believe it. I'm thinking of some high people that are believing this guy really changed, and I'm just going to watch. I'm going to watch it crumble right before their eyes. And that you need to be irreverently willing to call out the power people. And so my goal is to tell my story for the purpose of, it's a great story about how they tried to dismantle me with proof, with evidence, with witnesses. They played it sloppy. They thought I'd never catch on. They laughed behind my back that I was stupid. And here I'm the one who's going to go viral and call them out on it. And there's nothing they can do to stop me. It's not illegal. Anything that I have experienced is legitimately my experience. And I can tell about my experience. And if they didn't want this to happen, they could have made a better choice in how they handled me. And they chose to run with many illusions about me that they just made up. And there's enough people in this community to know that they're lying because they've watched me for 37 years. Always on the scene, always in the seminars, always practicing, always socializing. I mean, there's nothing they can do to deny my participation. So it's not like I'm someone who just came in for a month and left. But I did want to read to you what I heard today, but the guy's name wasn't on it. He said, let me just get a little bit of water. While I'm getting water, just call in the light. Oh, God, please, fresh air. Okay, so let me read it to myself first. Okay, I'm going to read it slowly so you get this. This is when someone comes at you, usually a power figure, and their attitude is that you are being disrespectful for letting them disrespect you. So I'll say it again. You are being very disrespectful for not letting them disrespect you. In other words, it's so plain. How do you explain this? You're being disrespectful for not letting them, meaning that it's okay for them to disrespect you, but how dare you disrespect them back? That's it. It's okay for these power people to disrespect you and gossip about you, ruin you essentially. And how dare you step forward and return the favor and disrespect them. And that's pretty much what leadership people think, is they can bully you, do anything they want, and then when you fight back or get an attorney or subpoena them to court, it's like, how dare you disrespect me? They forget that they planted the seed. And the other thing I wrote for tonight is, you've probably heard all your life, if you're a natural born dismantler, you've probably heard that you are the problem. Wait, I use this. You, my little card, you are the problem. What do I have here? You are, I need my glasses. Well, okay. Huh. You are the aggressive one. I cannot read my handwriting, guys. Basically, you're the problem. You're the problem. Anywhere you go, you probably know that you're the problem. And this is not, my podcasts are not for everybody. My audience has mostly been women, been disrespected, thrown under the bus, younger women. So I'm really talking to you guys. And it's women that are going to be dismantling the systems, pretty much. It's the feminine is on the rise. The feminine is coming to restore Mother Gaia, which is planet Earth. The women are coming in with their qualities of caring and loving and sharing and creating communities. So those are going to be the new leaders, women. So, and who's most disrespected on the planet? Women. So how dare we disrespect them back? I'm sure my church, I'm thinking of one person in particular, how dare Barbara go after us like this? How dare she? Not putting the dots together that they started the ball rolling. And for those of you who don't know my story, it started out with them refusing to give me a refrigerator and a stove and water in an apartment that I was renting for them. That is the event that they blew up into being my fault, that I had to lose 15 years of my life after they attempted to evict me, and I just was broken from not being able to be with my spiritual teacher. So, as I say this to you, I see why the karma, the divine karmic justice is going to be hitting them hard, because they so manipulated and manufactured a narrative when all I asked for was the promised refrigerator and stove and water in my shower and my kitchen. And for that reason, the core initial reason, I lost 15 years of my life, gotten very sick, disabled, homeless. I lost everything. And what further proof to them that I am anointed and I am a child of God and that I have been endowed with the ability to take them down is the proof that I still not only am standing and living, and yes, my health took a hole, but I'm now going viral on media. I mean, the last thing they could have ever conceived me doing, because I was sweet, I was kind, and they took that as weakness, they took it as stupidity. People project onto you their qualities. They expected me to do things like they did, being nasty, acting out, reacting. I did none of that in 15 years. I essentially just disappeared because I was very angry and very hurt, and I didn't want to take that out on them. And it seems like God rewarded that by giving me my day in court. And my day in court is going to be on the media. The statute's up, so this is the only place I can get my justice, is with my human family, listening and looking at my evidence and proving that they have corrupted an entire thousands of years lineage for new people to come. And ones who are present already have everything under their belt. So I'm hardly done. I'm just beginning. And I didn't expect to talk this long at all, but it seems when I'm tired, well, I'm not tired today. I slept a lot. I just want to, just reminding you, if you're a dismantler, you need to go it alone. You need to be willing to be hated and abandoned and mocked. You need to expect people are going to copy you. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for them to copy this. Yeah, I'm waiting because all this is copyrighted. Yeah, so much for dismantling systems. Don't dismantle anything unless you have something else for the people, and I have that in the wings. So just a mini prayer asking God to please protect us, particularly to protect the people you've assigned to dismantle the old system, to keep us grounded, to keep us humble, to keep us in power, to keep our emotions in check, and most of all, to be a healed empath that says, no more. I gave you thousands of chances. You didn't take advantage of it. And so now we go toe to toe. So just remember, if you are in a situation where you are going to dismantle a system, create a team that has the same belief system, have yourself really streamlined in possessions and attachments to the outer world. You really need to come into yourself. If you can't stand alone because you're married or have kids, you just need to become as single in those relationships as you can, because you will have to do things that they may not want you to do. And if the negativity works through them, and if the devil works through them, and I hate the word devil, the devil will try to stop all of us. Even this room I'm in. This was the devil stopping me from getting the room I was slated for and putting me in this filthy one so I would get sick, which I am. And it slowed me down. I got nothing done all year. I mean, I do the best I can, but in my eyes, it's nothing. So, so expect to be attacked, slow down, whatever. And once we all get together, and I believe that's going to happen, I think we're all connected mentally, but when we come together physically, which I know is in the works, we will have much greater support systems. Don't expect your old life people to support you in elevating yourself and ascending and expanding. Don't expect that. You're going to leave them, or they're going to leave you. So why you have to really get over the karma of rejection, people pleasing, and wanting people to like you. If you want people to like you in this world, let me say it clearly. If you want people to like you in the world, you will never be free. Because there will always be people who don't like you for whatever reason. And you don't have time to beg people to be your friends. So you have to go it alone, pray for your new tribe to show up that wants you to embark on your purpose. So this is a tall order. It's a tall order, guys. And the only reason I'm able to do it is 15 years alone by myself, trudging through all kinds of, I keep saying it over, the homeless, the elderly, the disabled, just being one of them. And I don't say them in a bad way. That was my lifestyle. I got to see slavery at its finest. I got to see monies that were supposed to go to us in these agencies for help with housing, to give us a boost, and the money is suddenly lost. We know it's in someone's pocket. So there's a lot working against earth angels, but those of us who've made it feel grateful. And I think I could probably speak on behalf of all of us and all of you, that there's a gratitude and a knowing that we were saved. And in that, we feel like we have to shout from the mountaintops, that God is real. That's what got me out of this. And now it's time to go to war. And I know people are not going to like that word, but that's what it is. It is a war between God and the devil, between good and evil. And the war has to happen. The loving isn't going to return unless we fight for it. And so much for peacemakers, huh? So guys, I'm fading. Oh my God, my throat, so bad. God bless everybody. Thanks for listening. This might be the longest instead of the shortest podcast I've done. Okay, good night. Barbara signing off. And I'll speak to you the next time I'm willing to do my hair and get dressed. Okie dokie. Bye-bye.